Well, let's see, how is it? Well, I don't know why it looks, everything is going differently. Again, it's the turning off the computer shutting down. So I'm thinking you all should see me. I'm not, and I guess I'm still on OBS as well. So I don't know how that is going to screen share, but I'm not seeing other viewers either, so I'm not sure if this is actually, oh, one, but that would be me seeing that the call is on. Well, and it says excellent condition. I'm not sure what is the, and I'm not sure about any comments, anybody in. It changed a lot of things here. So I'm going to go ahead and end and try again. So, oh, another chat maybe coming through. No, that's from previous. And oh, okay, I think someone has made it into the call. I'm seeing a second viewer. Maybe they can let me know that they are in, because I have had some tech issues with things going for just getting on the call. Just about 2 minutes before getting on the call, my computer decided it was going, oh, and about 2 minutes before getting on the call, the computer decided it was just going to restart. So, and then of course OBS didn't open as I usually have things, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to, if I'm screen sharing or what yet, so we'll be able to see what's going on here. But, and of course the delay. I'm not sure how that delay is affecting things. Okay, that messes with me. Alright, so let me see how I can be able to screen share. Let's see, because I would be able to, I would be normally using the screen share on OBS. Alright, so again, this is Christine Bundy as you're coming in, State Coordinator for the Indiana Assembly. If you would go ahead and put your name and county in the chat and let us know where on Indiana you're from, or where you call home right now, let's say that. There's a lot of, that's an important point to bring forward, is that many get confused and think that because they were born on Indiana but don't currently call Indiana their home right now, then for some reason they think they should present their paperwork here to the Indiana Assembly, even though they don't live here right now. So there's still some confusion going on to that aspect. Although it is definitely more beneficial in your standing if you are one that was born on Indiana and you call Indiana your home today, because that further strengthens that you would be willing to be that supporting citizen. But there are also those that are on other countries, even U.S. territories or U.S. possessions. Okay? And because they're not on one of the 50 states, they cannot present, if they do not currently live on one of the 50 states, they cannot present to the assembly, or to any state assembly, regardless if they were born there, regardless if parents are from there. If they don't currently live on one of the 50 states. Welcome, Lake County. Welcome. Lake County is growing and doing many great things. You just all have to get together and actually connect. You all want to You all say you want to say hi to each other and talk to each other, but when there's opportunities, when Lake County men and women are together, nobody wants to talk. So, but hopefully some more will be able to get on the call this evening, and you can be able to share with each other. So that's where it's helpful if you get a chance to put your name and what county on Indiana you're from in the chat, so you all can be able to see where you're from. All right. So again, that's the so there was a misunderstanding where there was one man on Indiana that he had incorrectly presented the 1779 was not correct, and for some reason he got the understanding that he thought that I had said that he didn't have to have one because he was born on Indiana. And I was like, no, then that would mean there's a lot of Indianians right now that would not have presented their 1779. So there's some confusions going on. Now there is that you have the choice. You, as a national, you can present the 1779 one-pager and or the 928s. Okay? But as a state citizen, and when you're actually acting in the capacity as a state citizen, is when you actually have all the paperwork done, all the cancellation letters completed, and you are actually participating with and serving with the assembly to support the assembly. That's when you're actually stepping up as a state citizen. It is not like the U.S. citizen that can just say, well, I'm a citizen and I can call myself a citizen 24/7, but I don't have to do any of the actual work that's involved. Okay, so we've got to get some clarity on the difference between national and citizen as to what that actually means. There's also many that, because part of that initial starting of getting in the flow of the process is that I ask you to go to the Participate tab in your LRO member record and check all the roles that you would be interested in participating with. Okay? And which is great, because then that helps us to be able to ensure that one, okay, you're looking for a role that would require that you have all the paperwork on the record. It requires a background check, requires vetting from the Federation. So then therefore that it engages, so from that information, so that we can take you through the process to make sure you go through all the steps for that. However, the big key, it's called participation. There's many that have checked for serious roles, but haven't shown up for the first assembly call. Haven't connected with anyone for anything, spoken to no one, but yet they check that they're willing, that they would like to participate and support in significant roles like justice, and yet they haven't finished all the paperwork yet, even themselves. Another Lake County, welcome! So we got Linda and John on Lake County. Here you go. Lake County, like I said, Lake County is growing leaps and bounds, so y'all can be able to connect together. Again, remember, this is recorded. This is live on YouTube and everything. So, remember how much information you're sharing. But if you have another way you'd like to connect, or if you can message as YouTube users with each other to be able to connect, however you want to do that. Okay. So, so that's a main point, is getting clear on the difference between national and citizen. And if you're seeking to do something that's a role that says that would mean participate, like, if you're stating that you're interested in supporting a sheriff, or you're interested in supporting as a marshal at arms or continental marshal, or any of these other, or even treasurer. Okay, there's been many that have selected many roles that, one, haven't even finished the paperwork, or at least enough that they're almost there, almost completely done. But then stop at the background check. Do not want to move forward with a background check, and haven't seen them since publishing their paperwork or heard from them. How do you expect to be able to participate and get involved if you're not actually participating and getting involved to even know what's going on? You have to actually show up so you can know who all is there, get to see each other, get to talk to each other. It's not a, hey, I want you all to be armored up and you all to be vetted, but I want to be able to be around and be that fly on the wall and watch you do everything. I don't want you to know who I am. There are many that have done that, where they just creep around every once in a while and pop up and show up on those open calls because they want to be able to talk to somebody, but yet can't show their face, can't actually communicate, can't actually present themselves. So think about that. You want a different world from the craziness that we've had. You want better quality, right? So why are you not even showing up, let alone showing up half-ass? Right? And I did check this. It's not for children. Okay? You want something better, but you don't want to lift a finger to do anything for it, but yet you want everybody to look at you as though, hey, I'm in this role. But you've done nothing. There's many people that have never shown up. Some have even checked that they're interested in participating in those roles, and they didn't have an assembly recording secretary witness their paperwork. They went to a public notary, so then they sent it by mail, and then it was all done through the mail with original paperwork. So no actual Zoom call scheduled, right? They provided all the paperwork, but yet then go to check, participate in significant roles and never show up. I just think it's amazing that the little, it's more of your own mind game that you're playing with yourself in some of this, because it's also, so many are quick to run and call the county recorder's office to ask a question that see jurisdiction, or think that the state of Indiana public notary is going to have more knowledge and lead you correctly in the paperwork process. Which you don't, and I'm having a feeling that the state of state notaries are starting to get different types of training. I have not seen this with a state of Indiana public notary, but I have seen it with another state of state public notary, where the notary put their stamp on the line where they're supposed to sign, but put it at an angle and then signed over where the seal was at. And then on a second document, same notary went ahead and signed on the line, but then put their notary seal over their signature at an angle. But it was at a right angle instead of to the left. Because we're having to do things where we're putting it at a 45-degree angle to the left, right? Because in the debt redemption process, it was interesting that they were putting, and then there's also that, but I did have where one woman on Indiana said that the state of Indiana public notary told her that the witness testimony would not be valid because the witness was her son. And I said, in their court, probably not, but it's irregardless. You just go ahead and state that you have business that's separate from the state of Indiana court system. And that as long as the witness, the one that is signing, is of age, they can be able to do that. And you have to be assertive with them and say, and if you're not wanting to notarize it, that's fine. I will find another public notary that will perform the service that you signed up to perform, right? Okay, so just some minor things on that. I'm not seeing any more comments yet. I just wanted to go over some briefly about payroll and taxes, things of that nature. Now, because I've had a few people that have connected with me saying, well, how do I get rid of Indiana payroll tax? One, and how do I get rid of all Indiana tax, period, including sales tax? Okay. All right. Well, I'll start with sales tax from one perspective. Sales tax, that is a whole other ball game, because you're dealing with all these corporations out there that have a living man or woman at the counter that literally is only told absolutely what they are supposed to know, right? And they're not going to have a clue, right? So they're going to say, they're going to be at a gas station, or are you going to tell the cashier at the gas station, I'm tax exempt? And how are you going to explain no tax? Because they're going to want something from the state of Indiana, right? State of Indiana is not giving you anything that's going to say tax exempt. And again, unless you go through the whole, and you're signing up and registering and stating that you're still a U.S. citizen in order to be able to even go through that process. So it is not it's not for living men and women on the land and soil to try to go through that sales tax exemption process. Okay, so that part, let's take that off the table, because again, are you going to be able to articulate to every cashier that you come across for whatever it is to say, no, don't charge? They wouldn't even have a clue how to not charge. Some of them wouldn't even know how to take the tax off the computer for whatever, So that's a whole other ball game that has to be addressed. That is an issue that Indiana state citizens can address, but they have to do some work. They have to follow through on their own part to get their full standing to be able to start addressing those types. That's an example of what a Indiana state citizen can be able to do to support Indianians, is working on getting the sales tax removed for Indiana state nationals and citizens, right? That would be a task that that Indiana state citizens could be able to work on, right? Okay, so let's go over to TASA. All right, the American States Assembly website, tasa.americanstatenationals.org. All right, when you go to the correct your status tab, and I'm going to see if I'm going to be screen sharing. So I may not be screen sharing because it's my recording afterwards. But I made sure that all of this is already out there. So, okay, so I'll go ahead and screen share here on OBS. And, but I am let me turn that on for display capture. Okay, so again, like I said, it is going to do it. Yes. Okay. All right, so I am on the TASA site. Let me move this out of the way here. Move this over some. All right, so correct your, it's maybe not pulling it up yet. Oh, there it is. Okay. That's right. YouTube has that lag. Okay, so correct your status. You're going to check correct your status. And then first thing that's going to come up is about the one-page declaration. Okay? Here's another point to note. There are many out there that have been misled to think that, and I've even known state of Indiana public notaries that do this on a regular basis, is they just slap a notary addendum page to the document. Okay? And that then breaks the document if that was not a part of it in the first place, right? As well as because everybody was upset because there were a lot of pages. There were a lot of pages to work with in the 928 bundle. So it was, everybody was wanted a one-pager. The whole point was to come with a one-pager, right? To simplify the process as a national. Okay? And so the one page was developed, the formatting and everything for the one page. But many will try, because there are others out there from other movements, other people that have picked up, started using honest documents or actively participating with this, but slightly throw in those subtle changes of just go ahead and let it split over on the second page if there's not enough room for the notary block, for the notary to put their seal. Just go ahead and let it go over to the second page. It's okay. It's okay if the date that you're signing, autographing is on the first page, and the name of all the details, and then you've autographed in the notary block on the second page. Or it's, you can autograph on the first page and have the notary block on the second page, completely separating it from the two. One, it's called the one pager. Two, if you don't split it up correctly onto a second page, you're breaking the contract. This is a subtle U.S. territorial twist, little tiny hint of a twist of things that they do, that they're still stuck in U.S. territorial mode. But the problem is that it breaks your contract for what you're doing. Okay? All right. So, just wanted, while I was here, because that's the very, when you go to correct your status, that's the first thing, page one, the one pager. Okay, so, let's see. Was it here? No. Chart your course. All right. This has been updated. I do know I've got, oh, and my page isn't looking right because I'm having to, okay, hold on just a moment. All right, so taxes. What we're dealing with is payroll taxes. So let's just go ahead and start with first. On the chart your course, the tab is the truth about the IRS. Okay. All right. All these little windows, I'm trying to get everything out. Okay. I will try popping over every once in a while, checking for comments as I can. All right. So the IRS BATF connection. So apparently some people are misunderstanding what I said. This is from a previous article. And she's referring to a previous Monday night webinar about the IRS and the BATF. So I'm putting it down in writing and explaining it. And I want to pause just a moment because it's coming to me in the moment is that what are the odds that the one time in all these years of Anna doing the Monday night webinars, and I'm not trying to, because she absolutely deserves, a break, absolutely. But she had emergency dental surgery. What are the odds? What are the odds of an emergency dental situation to miss Monday night's call? And then there's a lot of banking things that are going on right now. Okay? I want to send her lots of love, lots of prayers. And we all should be helping to strengthen her, right? So it's just interesting that we're bringing up about the truth about the IRS. Okay. All right, so the IRS has no capacity of its own to enforce anything. All power of distraint related to the IRS is vested in the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Okay. C27 CFR Chapter 1, Subchapter F as in Frank, Part 70. All power of distraint enforcement of the IRS is connected to and through the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. I don't know about you, but I personally am not doing anything that has to deal with any kind of commercial business relative to alcohol, tobacco, or firearms. So IRS has nothing to do with me. This goes back to the original plan to finance the federal government from the regulation or taxation of interstate manufacture, sale, and transport of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. This is how the federal government got into the sin tax. Business in the first place, and this is the modern day connection back to it. BATF. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Interesting that it's a sin tax, right? Because alcohol, what is alcohol? Alcohol brings spirits, they've told us, right? And tobacco, there are various types of tobacco, right? Is that why they're trying to hold cannabis in that? When it's not the same type of tobacco, it's actually a herb. And firearms. What can happen with a firearm? You can shoot and kill somebody, right? Or at least do some damage, cause some harm, right? Okay, so I'm popping in and out, checking for comments and stuff. Okay. All right, so you'll remember that years ago, I obtained my IRS master file and the separate code book needed, literally to decode it. At that time, yes, they don't even allow you to access it now because so many were figuring it out and doing it. So, but yes, there was an actual code book to go through the whole thing to figure it out. I learned, to my amazement, that Anna Maria Reitzinger, the municipal doppelganger, was engaged in managing a rum distillery in Barbados. At the time, I was simply flabbergasted and had my nose wrinkled up like a Venetian blind. The whole concept was so completely off the scale that I made jokes about it every time I mixed a hot buttered rum. But there was a method to their well-hidden madness. They were building a completely fictitious and vicious dossier connecting my name, or what appeared to normal people to be my name, to activities that are firmly under the thumb and forefinger of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Likewise, and at the same time, I discovered that according to the IRS, my husband James was a big-time game runner in South America, right up there with old Ollie North and the Contras. Same shtick. Setting him up and mischaracterizing him as a municipal corporation franchisee engaged in the interstate, which means international. Okay? So remember, although we grew up, we've all been taught that Kentucky is just the state south of us, or Illinois is just the state to the west of us, Ohio to the east, and Michigan to the north. That is international. Okay? Sale and transport of what? Firearms. And firearms are under the control of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, BATF again. So all this shinola on the part of the IRS is self-evidently created out of thin air and compiled as a false dossier. Where have we seen this before? That they present to BATF officials to justify action by the BATF in behalf of the IRS. How much you want to bet that all those poor sods at Waco were simply misrepresented as drug lords and kingpins and dangerous mercenary characters, probably in possession of weapons of mass destruction? How much would you like to bet that the proof of this was supplied to Janet Reno and the BATF in the form of IRS master files? This is going on since 1930s, folks. No doubt they have you and your family members all framed up too, because why? They cannot do business. They can't get into bed with anyone. They cannot have intercourse with anyone unless they're too a sinner. They have to do something that's to lie, steal, or kill in order to have any, to even communicate with you at all. And the very first thing that they use in that is the, are you a U.S. citizen? The first lie, so that they can even be able to talk to you. That's their opening in. Right? Okay. All right, I'm not going to go ahead and keep reading. You get the gist, right? Here is an article she followed up with January 8th of 2020. So she told about why the IRS liens and levies are hokum. But it does get better. Not only are the only powers of restraint related to the IRS overtly lodged with BATF, but the IRS is not allowed to access restraint powers lodged in any other agency acting under any other title of federal code, including Title 27, that is the BATF title. What this means is that the IRS doesn't have any access to any powers of restraint through the BATF either. All right, so she goes in further with specific codes, and goes into greater detail. So I'm sure at some point you can take the time to be able to read through these, as well as then you can be able to go and look these up yourself. All right, then she goes on into a second one about hunting the hunters, right? Okay, so here you have the IRS red line letter template, the RR98 section 1203, and the USC subtitle F regulations. So these are the codes for you to be able to look up, and then here is the red line letter template. We'll just look at it. And of course, YouTube is a lag from real time. Oh, and of course I have to download it. Okay, let me go ahead and download. All right, so let's see if this shows. Yeah, this should show up as well. That should pull up for you. Nope, it's not the one. There we go. All right, and if you'll notice, red line letter, right? It's in red. Okay. Sorry, I just had to laugh because I hope that should be showing, right? Yeah. Okay. I have to laugh because I had a few years ago, I was speaking with a man, and was trying to explain to him that I work with energy and crystals, and it's a lot like laying in the hands. It's working with energy, and he made some comment that, of course, was that was going to be against it, but he said, but it was in red. So it has to be real. Anyway, okay, so, but where the difference is, we are on the land and soil, and they have to follow it because it's in red. Okay, because it does change the jurisdiction. All right, so here is the template. So it'll be going to the Department of Treasury. And if you wanted to go to Social Security, you can be able to. These are just these you'll want here. If you wanted to send to your seat anywhere else you wanted to send, but definitely these two, and that way it already has the address details listed there. Now, I suggest, like with all the other documents, if you're serving for multiple things, if say, being that a lot of it's registered mail, or do the priority mail express, but do the Department of Treasury as the key registered mail one, and then do all the others, through the certificate of mailing or something like that. But then listed on everybody's letter as to what they all got a copy, right? So that way everybody is on the same page. All right, so, and this is a 7-page letter, so I'm not going through this letter. So you'll be able to read through here to be able to support that. So that may be something, if you would like to, we could do a challenge if you haven't done it yet, that we could be able to get others, see if they actually did that. So let's see what, if we got to download this. All right. It too is, okay, so let's, all right, okay, so this is the IRS non-retaliation policy, IRC section 1203, and the Restructuring and Reformation Act of 1998, RRA 98. So you can read that. So that gives you that code, the code details for that. And of course you have the red line letter. As well as then this is also then the details of the 26 USC subtitle F regulations. All right. Then she goes further into another article, as well as there is a video. I don't know if I would be able to play the video. Let's see if I can figure this out. Copy the thing. And there's a train coming through now, of course. So let me see if I can figure out how to do this. I haven't done it that way before, but I have played it. I think I should be able to.
Number 26. All right, time has expired. Mr. Becerra is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your testimony. And let me key off of something, Mr. Miller, you said. You said foolish mistakes were made. I think the president actually said it better. He said that the handling of those tax-exempt applications in that process at the IRS was outrageous and intolerable. No excuse. And as much as we know that the folks at IRS have a thankless job because they have to go and tell their fellow Americans that they may be audited or they have to do this work understaffed, we have to maintain the confidence in the system because it's a voluntary system of payment of our taxes.
Agreed.
And so
a voluntary system. A voluntary system of the taxes. And of course, it's when the train is rumbling by and it's a low volume on the video. But you'll be able to go there where you're, and you'll be able to, where he's clearly stating that it's a voluntary system. They need to know this. All right. And so then here is the internal memo about the IRS. Now, the other three items, and of course you're going to send wherever you're going to send for the red line letter. But the other items, start building your reference materials so that you have it, so that you can be able to show others. So here's the Internal Revenue Service, this internal memo. April 4th, 1985, to all district directory. On March 5th, 1985, a charge of tax evasion was filed in U.S. District Court in Indianapolis, Indiana by U.S. Attorney George Junkin. The charges were dismissed. The defense attorney Lowell Beecraft of Huntsville, Alabama, represented irrefutable evidence that the 16th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution was never properly ratified. This amendment, which established the income tax, was signed into law despite serious defects. In reality, only 2 states ratified the amendment, and ratification requires 36 states to be valid. The effect of this is such that every tax paid into the Treasury since 1913 is due and refundable to every citizen and business. Okay, so if you'll notice, an Indianapolis, Indiana court filed this for tax evasion. Okay? And they still went ahead, and even though it wasn't ratified, they still went ahead and went through this. What is the same thing that happened here, or not here in Gibson County, but happened in Indiana, was when the Senator Lugar decided to go ahead and merge County of Marion and the city of Indianapolis. They just decided to merge the two. Went from a third-class city to a first-class city literally overnight. And it is the only unigov. And it was never taken to the people for a vote. They just did it because they saw that the men and women coming home from the war were going on living their lives. They were moving out of Indianapolis. They didn't want to stay in Indianapolis, so they were moving, and they were thinking that Indianapolis was dying because the men were moving with their families because they wanted to get on with their lives. All right, just wanted to bring that up. So, and that's a one-pager that you can be able to print and keep with you as well. And these are handy tools to keep with you. One, have them actually physically printed. Okay, this helps you, one, so that every opportunity that you can, instead of just sitting on your cell phone, pick up this material and read. This is how you're going to take it in. Remember, you have to, no one can walk this walk for you. You have to go in to get out. You can't go out and get others to help you get out. You have to go in to get out. You have to go in with you to find your way out of all this. Okay? Nobody else is going to be able to do this for you. Okay. So, keeping that, and so one, it's that you have the materials, right? So that you can be able to take that knowledge in. But then it's also, so if someone asks you, well, what are you doing? What are you reading? You can share the knowledge with them too, right? Your number one mission is to help people not just wake up, but see clearly what happened and how to be able to help them. Okay. All right. So here was all of this portion here. All right. Now, when we go to the Indiana Assembly website, the indianaassembly.org, which is the Assembly's domain, but it then redirects to point to the Federation hosted web space. Which while I'm here, I'll take a moment, and I've done some updating. So public record, if you go here to public record, calls have been moved to here. You can click calls, and it'll take you to the page that lists every call, all the different various calls that even the ones that are no longer being held, and then it'll take you to their pages that have the replays, recordings, documents, attached agendas, things like that. So I've updated that to bring more room up here. And then here is a link that goes straight to the products and services. If you're needing document prep service, there's two options. One is to prepare the documents and then physically print and mail them to you, ready for you to then determine if you're, they'll be prepared that if you wanted to go to a state of Indiana public notary, that would be fine too. And then that way you can schedule, or then you can then schedule for me to record and publish. If you go to a public notary, for the witnessing of you autographing your paperwork, there's no recording fee, but there is still the $25 publishing fee. Okay. And then once you do have on the record with presented to the Indiana Assembly, once you've presented your birth certificate, 2 witness testimonies from 2, not just 2 copies of a testimony from same living man or woman, but 2 different living men or women that are at least preferably over the lawful age of 21 and have known you for at least 7 years. Okay, and then the 1779 Declaration of Naturalization. If you do no other documents, those 4 pieces of paper, those 4 documents are the bare minimum needed in order for you to be eligible for the ASN private auto travel bundle with the option of a generic plate. We'll just go here. With the option of a generic plate or a unique plate, as well as document zip file. Here is also the debt redemption. Same thing for the debt redemption. You have to at least presented your birth certificate, 2 witness testimonies, and 1779 declaration. If you've already recorded your documents, but you've got single documents, like you're ready to do your private auto deed because you do own it, not because you can't use the private auto deed process if you are making payments to anyone for it. If you own it, you have the title, then you can go through the private deed process. Now, if you were doing the private auto deed and for like your car, and you had one for your trailer, that sort of thing, it's only $10 for the whole, however much you bring within that time for that recording. So if you were doing 5 documents, and that's fine. But only the 1 fee. It's not per document. It's just per recording session. All right. So come back, because like I said, I was updating because there were issues in the previous process of how it was and it was not even showing availability for the product. So I've separated things out, so should be able to access the products now and be able to schedule services. Okay, and then of course over here is the debt redemption center link, as well as up here. Okay, so here, let's see, where do I, join. Okay, when you go to join, when you put the hover over join, you have where you can read. Here's the Declaration, the Constitutions. Here's to be able to see the current recording secretaries at this point in time. I'm the active recording secretary for the state. Here's where you can be able to, the link to look up your record on the LRO as though you were looking from the public view, but it will give you an opportunity if you wanted to log in to your member record while you're there. All right, here, templates. Oh, snap, hold on. Templates. Okay. On templates. And this has been here for a while, but again, I've reorganized, so this hopefully will be a little bit easier to find. All right, so here is an updated fee schedule, because I'm seeing, and I'm going to bring it up to the Federation Tech team that it hasn't been updated yet. But here is an update of the Notice of Intent fee schedule that includes the combined codes. And there's the template if you're wanting myself, Assembly Recording Secretary to witness, or if you want State of State Notary. And if you're using a State of State Notary, then there's no recording fee, and it's just one document, no publishing fee. All right, and then here is the file. So here are documents as a national with recording secretary or State of State Notary templates. Here that's got the 928s. Here are additional documents. All these documents that are also listed here are on the TASA site. Here's the link. You can go right there to be able to get all of these. Now, this is what's on the TASA site is a lawful marriage record. But if you're already married and you're not able to get the officiant to be able to complete that for you, there is the marriage revocation of third-party corporate governmental agency licenses and registrations, which I think it's up to you, that would need to be done even if you were able to do the marriage of lawful record. Is still due. If you got the marriage license, I would do the marriage revocation of third-party corporate in addition to it, because that way to cancel that contract, that license. All right. So, and then of course the revocation of election goes to the link for DC and New York, and we'll go back to that because it's relative to taxes. Here's information from Anna about passports. Here is the deed of reconveyance for private auto, but again, you already have to at least have presented BC 2 witness testimonies in 1779 and own the property to be able to use it. Now, private auto, but it also includes because you'll have to, it's like if you have a trailer, for various things that you could do one for each of them. For each of you can use it for property as a whole. So additional things here to be able to support you. Here is the lawful banking process here. All right, here is more support for the employer. Okay, so when you start, it's easier if you're starting fresh with a new employer to get them to give you use the 1099 miscellaneous. But if you've already been employed with them, it's going to be really hard to try and explain to them how you were a U.S. citizen, but you're not a U.S. citizen, when in their mind, in their world, there is no getting out of being a U.S. citizen. Right? In their world, there is no getting out of being a U.S. citizen. You are a U.S. citizen from birth to grave, right? All right. So, here is the W-4. You'll want to try the W-4 first, in that the W-4V in that it was the W-4 that got you in the process, in the system. Okay? You receive the W-2 come the end of January, first part of February. You receive a W-2, but it was a W-4 you had to complete for them to then report it on the W-2. Okay? So a W-4 was what initiated that process. So what you're trying to do is void that W-4. Okay? Well, some do not even realize that there is a W-4V because, again, in their mind, there is no getting out of paying taxes as a U.S. citizen. Right? So, but we're course correcting. This is a way to help educate them in this as well. Does it delay some of the process? Does it give you a little time that you have to hassle possibly back and forth with them? That, it's possible. All right. But they may not accept the W-4V. They just may not accept it. And some have even played a nasty, gnarly twist to say that they decided that they will just go ahead and change your whole withholding setup to where they're setting you at the highest single rate for you to fill out a new one. Some have been very nasty and done that. I have seen that in the past. And will not change it till you complete a new one. All right. Even though your previous one was on record, it's against the law. It's illegal of what they were doing, but doesn't just stop the fact that they did go ahead and go into the payroll system and voided the whole thing and set them as a higher single rate till they came with the updated W-4. All right. So I've shown here's also the paperwork templates on supporting if you are a new employee and using the W-8, not the W-8 Ben. Okay, before coming to this into this process, that was the W-8 Ben was something that was being used in that because everybody was running with beneficiary at the time, right? Everybody's thinking that they need to have a trust, even though trust is, you're signing over everything when you do a trust. Think about it. If you create a trust, even though you're the beneficiary of, even though you're the chair of, you had to sign that property over to that corporate trust. You no longer own it. Think about it. And therefore you were a beneficiary, but you're not a beneficiary because that would mean that you're dependent on others and not able to support and care for yourself. Okay, so here has the templates as well as the blank one to actually use to be able to support. Now, then we run into should they further go on. Let me turn this off a minute. I'll just adjust this again here. Okay, so should they still go round and round with you? And again, you can't be upset with them because they really, even if you know they know what they're doing to some extent, just because they're bitter, hateful people and because they're in control and just don't, they want you to just do it their way. You got to move past that, right? The point is they still really don't know the whole picture. They don't have the answers, and they would not even be able to explain it to their boss if they were to just go ahead and make the change, and they would have no idea to be able to explain to them why they did it that way, even though you have every right to be able to modify and adjust your payroll at any rate, any way, however you want, any point in time at all. Okay? But they get power hungry over your pay. And that's what many don't realize that they take on. Okay, so let me get back to my point with that then, is that you may end up having to handwrite. Greetings, I see you made it to the call. Go ahead and put in what county you're on so others on the call can know what county you're on. The others here, they put in that they're on Lake County, and I've put in that I'm on Gibson. What county are you on, dear? Welcome to the call. All right, so most likely what you're going to need to do is to put together a handwritten statement. It does not, you may get it notarized. It's fine, but that's up to you. And you'll put in there that you elect to cancel the Oh, welcome Howard County, right on. All right, so that you elect to no longer be considered a W-2 employee, and that you elect to receive the 1099 MISC, 1099 miscellaneous. And you also elect to have no deductions. Use the term deductions, not withholding. Use the term deductions. You elect to have no deductions withheld. Unless you have specific things, like you do have, maybe you do have medical insurance, medical things you have to have coming out, or you do have a retirement plan, even though you know that's a scam too, but here nor there. If you do have certain things, other things that you do need to have deducted, then stipulate that in the letter. It literally write, with the exception of the name of this whatever the name, the 401k deduction, and specify the dollar amount that you want there. You take control of it, right? And then state that you take full responsibility should any tax be due. So say you this day, right? That gives them something to put on their record. They comprehend. They do know that there's either the W-2 or the 1099. Now you do have that where there are some employers have opted that they will not do the 1099 at all. So you're going to have to take that into consideration. Okay. So do you put another one, do another W-4 just to be able to, or at least leave it as it is until you figure out something else? Right? These are things you have to figure out. There is no one in this world is going to be able to tell you, okay, if you do this, this, and this, and your employer will stop taking everything out. And they'll be happy as a lark to do it. No, 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 no. You are fooling yourself if you think that that's possible. It is not going to be easy. Okay? You are going to have to work for it. If you want to, and now many of you will also think, well, I see zero in withholding. This is another little fooling trick that they do. Withholding is that play around number. The withholding is, that's the number that you can up that, lower that all day, all night, however much you want. The true and actual tax is FICA and Medicare. That's the two taxes that need stopped. Those are the two taxes that are the theft. Those are the two taxes that you never agreed to. Those are the two taxes that employer won't remove, won't stop taking until you figured out how to do a 1099 with them. Because in their world, there is no getting out of being a U.S. citizen, and taxes are attached to the U.S. citizen, and they know it. U.S. citizens and tax go together. Right? You know it. Do you still want to be a U.S. citizen? Is it really that important to you? Because you don't want to go through the work of trying to peel out? But it's just so much work. I don't want to have. Can somebody else do this for me? Can you find a team for me to put this together? No. You're your own team. That's just like the church, always saying, looking for some external source to save you. You are your Savior. It tells us that Christ is within. Why are we still looking outside for someone else to save us when we're told, it's in the Bible, it tells us that Christ is within us. God is within us. We are children of God. Why do we still need to? Well, you're still a U.S. citizen until you actually complete paperwork and put it on the record. You're still considered a U.S. citizen, and it's actually going through the cancellation process with notifying them as well. You can, in your heart and in your mind, you can say all you want that you're not a U.S. citizen. But if it isn't done on the paperwork, it won't be recognized. That means you have to cancel the contracts. You actually have to serve the notices. You have to rebut them. You have to actually do the work and say no. But it's also you have no standing to do any of it until you do the paperwork. Without having the birth certificate, 2 witness testimonies, and at least 1779, you're not a national. So you haven't even started the first step that gives you any authority to stop any of this. You are still a U.S. citizen. You've at least got to put the first piece of paper on the record and start telling people, serving notice with the paperwork that you've actually done it. You can't just say it and then ignore and hide everything. And then also still expect to receive some kind of if they're passing out some extra refund money, it'll come out deposited in my account. I'll just go ahead and I got it. Because that's the way they like to trap you, is through the money somehow, some way. They've got some little twist on you to keep you in it until you actually start getting clear in your head and your heart, and it's not just talking about it. You have to actually move on it. You actually have to act on it. You have to actually do the paperwork for it. This is all action items. If you don't want to do anything and you think you can just ignore it and do no paperwork because you didn't do any but you did do paperwork to get yourself in it because you signed every single piece of paper that you checked off U.S. citizen. So while you weren't a part of everything being set up, It wasn't your fault. You're here to course correct. And you have to do it through the paperwork. You have to do it officially. You have to take action steps. You can't just ignore it. Because while you may think you're getting away with it now, come time when you're dead and you're sitting at the cemetery, IRS is going to be knocking on the door of your family trying to come after for the rest of your stuff because you didn't go ahead and finish canceling everything out. And just because they didn't go after you while you were still alive, they're going to come after you through your children, through your family. So don't think without presenting, don't think that without actually, that's all U.S. citizen actual behavior. That's all still U.S. citizen thinking. Because U.S. citizens, they'll do anything and everything if they think they are going to get something out of it for free, but yet don't want to actually do what's needed to do things correctly. It's too much work. But they'll go to great lengths to get out of trying to do something that you could have already. It's like a kid trying to get out of cleaning their room. They'll go through great lengths to try and do everything they could possibly do when they could have already had it done in about 20 minutes, if that. But no, wanted to dance, wanted to have that attitude, and this is my room, I can do what I want, or I'm man on the land. I don't have to do all that. I didn't put myself in this. Well, but you agreed to it every single step of the way, though. Whether you stomped your feet and powdered and disgruntled, you still agreed to it. You agree every time you quickly offer that driver's license to show somebody. Here. You want to see? I'm a resident. But yet when somebody's actually trying to help you get on the land and trying to help you correct your record, it just kills you to provide any information at all. It's like pulling teeth. But you want help. And you'll do far more work jumping through more hoops to get Medicaid and food stamps and all of that nonsense. And tell everything about yourself. But yet, when you actually have help to help get out of your system, you don't want to do the work yourself. You just expect it to come. Nothing comes for free. Free isn't free. You have to do the work for it. So, still got to present paperwork to you still got to do the paperwork. And there are many groups out there that they'll tell you, well, if you just get your paperwork get it on a public record, you don't have to connect with your assembly. Or you don't have to actually participate with the assembly. No. But you make sure you're in line there, though. If they're passing out some support services, you make sure you're in line. But what they forget to tell you is that you have to identify yourself to receive the services. I just emailed a man on Indiana this morning that posted payment for the private auto plate and the debt redemption bundle and he's not on the record yet. And I told him, I said, you're not a national. You're not eligible for this. No, as soon as you present your paperwork and you all you have to do is the birth certificate, 2 witness testimonies in 1779, and I will follow through with completing those orders at that time. But you're not a national because you have to if you can say you're not a U.S. citizen, but you still have to present yourself. And I'm pretty quick at figuring it out, and I'll keep, no, you got to show up. You got to present. How are you having trouble getting someone to do the witnessing of the paper? I'm the recording secretary, so you have either a public notary or myself. There was no problem with getting any support. There is a link. You've been sent a link to be able to schedule for the witnessing. Witnessing is called recording. Therefore, it's not a free consult appointment. You're asking for a service, and you've been given information and support. So, while you might say you're having trouble, you're not. The trouble is coming on your end because you're wanting it done for free. You're wanting paperwork done for you, and you're wanting someone to just do all the work. But what you're not realizing is you're still asking a living man or woman to do some labor for you, to perform a service for you. But you're looking at, well, it's coming from the assembly. The assembly can do it. The assembly. But no, there's still a living man or woman that has to perform the service. Okay, so have you presented your, so one, the birth certificates no longer need authenticated. And that has been for a while now. Anna has presented that many times. That has been stated many times, that unless you plan to travel out of the country by land, by air or sea, that would be a good reason to have the birth certificate authenticated. But to present your birth certificate to the Indiana Assembly, it does not have to be authenticated. Okay? So you're welcome to present that at any point in time. The passport has nothing to do with the assembly. You can use the passport all you want. Just remember it has United States on the front. So you got permission from the United States. And Anna has an article on the, if you go to TASA, chart your course, there is a link there, one for passport. And that's great that you work through your baptismal process. Keep that for your records, but that is not correcting your status politically to present with the assembly. So therefore, you still are not considered, you're still a U.S. citizen. Okay? While you may have done your passport, you haven't actually done the status correction paperwork. It's not on a public record. So therefore, you're still a U.S. citizen. Okay, so again, now many like to get on because they disagree. They're not getting the type of support they're seeking is that they want someone to hold their hand. Okay, well, there are many de facto employees out there that will hold your hand and will fill everything out for you and will set everything up for you. And you're welcome to go there and have them do that for you. But as Americans, we self-govern ourselves. We take care of ourselves. Yes, we do go to others seeking consult and guidance on how to be able to work through it, but we don't have others doing it for us. Okay, and even in the document preparation services, that's still held by waiting for all of the Indianian to present their information for the documents to even be completed. Because there are some that order it, pay for the document prep service, and there's 3 right now that I have been back and forth trying to say, can you at least send me your birth certificate so I can get something started? Okay, so it's time to start coming out of that shell. It's time to grow a spine and do actual movement things. Okay? Now you're not telling the truth. Again, I am the recording secretary for the Indiana Assembly. I have sent you the link for connect to have a Zoom call with me. So please do not tell incorrect information that's derogatory against the one you're seeking to try and get guidance from. So that is not the trouble, and that is not the truth of it being that you're getting having trouble from the assembly when it's not true, because you're speaking directly to me, which is the one you're trying to say you're having trouble with. Okay? And you know that is not true. I have given you all kinds of direction and guidance and links as to how we can connect to be able to do the process. So do not mislead others because you're disappointed in not getting the way you want it done. I've given you support in ways that I can be able to help you. So don't share misinformation, untruths, because it's not being done the way you want it. Okay, so I'm not going to get into a chat session about this. We've emailed. Okay? So, and you know we've emailed. So, you need to have we need to have the conversation. Schedule a consult. The consult's free.
Listen, you ungrateful fuck.
Honey, the Zoom consult call is free. Okay? All you have to do is schedule the Zoom consult that's free. But I'm not going to do a witnessing on a Zoom consult when you haven't set up with me what the witnessing is. So you need to get clear on what it is you're looking for and stop throwing people under the bus because you don't like the way it's being addressed. I'm the only one that, as an assembly recorder, you can go to you're welcome to go to a state public notary, a state of Indiana public notary, whenever at your own convenience, and then there's no recording fee, and I believe I've included that in the email information that I sent you, and I've even said it on this call. If you go to a state of Indiana public notary, there's no recording fee, but there's still the publishing fee. So don't say you're having trouble getting someone to witness your paperwork. That is not true. And you're trying to share that with other people. That's not an appropriate way to handle yourself. Americans don't throw each other under the bus like that. U.S. citizens do every day. Every day a U.S. citizen will call and tell on and throw somebody in jail for something that they've done nothing wrong, but they'll lie all over each other. I've been here helping. I've done many, many things to help and support. Many. But for lack of follow through, I'm not going to get blamed for. No friend or family that will do it. Okay, so do you know someone, have you lived in the same area for a while and gone to the same grocery store that maybe a cashier or someone, all they have to do is just say, yeah, I've known, they've been a customer here for so many years. Or maybe your bank, because if you've had your bank account for at least 7 years, they can be able to be that witness of saying that you've been an account holder there for so many years. Do you know someone, where do you go that's a regular place that you've gone for a while? You just need to state that this is only to state that they say they know you and that you live about where you say you live. And that's all it really is. It's not anything critical. So I think a lot of times many think that they're afraid to even talk about it with others, so they're not even sure. I didn't go through all of this explanation with my stepbrother and his wife. I just said I'm taking care of some paperwork that I need to work on. Would you be willing to just, I'll take care of I'll fill out the paperwork. I just need you all to go over, get it, sign it in front of a notary. Would you be good for that? And that's all they did. I didn't go into articulate, trying to explain anything I was doing at the time. And that was back in 2018. And I was like, I wasn't really sure of what was even going on. And so I wasn't going to be able to explain it to them at that point either. So just something like that, just say you have something that you need to just state that you need somebody to say that they've known you for a few years. Okay, that you are who you say you are. And that's it. There's a lot more. If you go to Terry, even on the TASA site, if you go to the chart your course, and I'll share it again too. Hold on. Let me screen share, bring the display back up here. And I'll adjust. Okay, so over here, if you go to chart your course, I would go with the paperwork training course and the why should I correct my status, because in there she gives you some support on how to find how to look for witnesses. Let me see if she's got something on here too. Yeah, here's even some more of ideas. Okay. And it may take a little time to figure that one out. And sometimes a lot of it may just be of trying to figure out, who would you even, would you even be, would they, just talking to them, I totally get that too. So that may take a few, but you can at least be working on the other things, and we can start pulling that together, start getting things on the record as we're going along here. Oh, snap. I didn't mind it. Okay, I'm still, okay. And we can still at least be getting other things in process for you, get things moving along so you're not totally at a standstill waiting just because of the 2 witness testimonies. Now, your status won't get changed until those 2 witness testimonies have been presented yet. Well, I mean, you're going to have to really work with that. Take time and ask spirit within who would be able to help you with that, because that's something you're going to have to work out. That is a big part of it. And it may be someone you may not even have thought about asking. May just be a random, even though someone that you know. But it depends on how are you presenting yourself when you're doing it, I mean, just say, hey, I've got some things going on. It doesn't have anything to do with the court system. I just need somebody to state that, yes, they know me. I live here. They've known me for this long. All right. That's going to take, but again, don't let because as you're moving and working on getting other things in play, Spirit will work on helping you with getting your witnesses. Okay? So move forward. Get your birth certificate done. You can still go ahead and get your 1779 done. You can go ahead and get that done. Still won't get the status changed till the 2 witness testimonies are there. You can still work on getting your 928s in. You can still cancel the voter registration. You can still cancel the IRS. You're not at a total standstill because of trying to figure out your witnesses. Okay? we did how many papers I had done when we had our Zoom. Okay, so if we did meet on Zoom and I did witness, okay, so send your paperwork so I can finish that part. We can get them on the record, get them published so they can start curing time, even though you're still waiting to put together your 2 witness testimonies. Okay, so this is all the big thing is you look to God, look to Spirit within. Okay, if you and I have met on a Zoom call, which you were saying you were having trouble getting someone to do the Zoom call. Okay, but if you and I have met on a Zoom and done the witnessing, send me your paperwork and we can go ahead and complete that. That can still get done. We can still move forward. Don't wait on that part. Let's get those finished. Mail them to me. Let's get those finished. Get them on the record. They can start counting towards your curing time on the public record. Doesn't change your status yet, but there's all these other things we could still be doing and you not be held up on the 2 witness testimonies yet, but that gives you time to work on the 2 witness testimonies. Okay, so the trouble is with the witness testimonies, it's not actually with getting your paperwork witnessed, is what's going on here, right? Okay, so you need to just reach out. Okay, this was not the best way to be able to get on a call to have this kind of conversation, dear. Okay, that is not the appropriate way to handle it. Okay, either email me or schedule a Zoom consult. Again, Zoom consults are free. We're not doing any witnessing. We can talk about this. Okay, well, if that's another service, I can't help you with that. It's not connected with me. I can't do anything to help you with that. That's on you. And you are not supposed to be signing the witness forms. You're putting your photo in the top right, your name and address in the top left. The witness information goes in the middle form, middle section. That's where they're going to sign in front of the notary. The notary then completes the bottom portion. You're not signing any witness forms. They are. Okay, so you're just going to need to connect. Okay? Because this is not clear. There's a lag time. YouTube has a delay in this, so it's several seconds in between. So I'm already saying that one thing by the time you end up popping something up. So I'm not sure you're even clear yet on what it is you're needing, because your story is changing here. Okay? You should not be signing the witness forms. Your witnesses are the ones that are supposed to be doing signing the witness forms. You're supposed to be notarized, at least having the 1779 done. I'm not sure why you would be signing the witness testimony, why you would be signing the witness forms. Okay, so you've got some verbiage that your vocabulary you're going to need to get clear. No, I'm not understanding what you're saying because you're not clear on what you're saying. That's clear. So I'm ending this call at this point because now this is derailed and sidetracked because you did not want to do things correctly and connect in correctly. So I want to thank you all. I've been walked through the different tax information that's on here, and so we'll see you on next week's call. And if you're looking to be an American state national, you'll need to present your birth certificate, 2 witness testimony, 1779 declaration. If you're wanting to actually have a conversation with me, you're welcome to schedule a call with me. And you know what? I'll go ahead and put that link up here for you. Just a moment. All right. So here is the link. You're able to at the top part, you can schedule a consult, or you can schedule a recording, or you can order products. I want to thank you all. Have a great evening, and I will see you all next week. Peace and love.